But with 3 boys, it really was, I do not want my boys to turn into men who believe that this is how we deal with life.
Welcome to Empower and Evolve, the vortex of growth that you have been looking for. I am your host, Kat Tunnyberg. I'm a mindset coach for female leaders, and I am committed to helping you cultivate the mindset shifts that generate you wild success. Each episode, we explore ways to tap into your true potential. We face the shadows that hold you back, and we embrace the journey toward your most abundant life. If you love what you learn here today, then I invite you to share this episode with someone that needs to hear it. Right, it's time to plunge in.
I hope you are ready to have your mind blown. How to survive, how to thrive as a single mom after divorce. Oh my freaking goodness. This episode was gold. I'm joined by my friend, Audrey Alice, who is an incredibly happily divorced mother of 3 who took the long route to healing so that you don't have to. Her divorce in 2017 took her through some of her toughest times, some of which she didn't think she'd survive. When she did indeed not only survive, but begin to thrive through practices such as embodied yoga, mindset changes, and reiki and energy work, she understood that her decision to leave her marriage hadn't broken her at all. It was transforming her into the version of herself she had been dreaming of for years. A bold, confident, powerful woman moving through life with clarity, grace, and purpose. She became the divorce coach she needed in the early years of her own journey. Oh, seriously, we're talking about mindset and like energy work, embodiment work, all the freaking juicy bits of what it takes to go from surviving to thriving, how to change your mindset after moving through the grieving period of losing a relationship, whether it's divorce or just breakup, and how you can start to become this next version of you. I'm really excited for you to meet Audrey. I met Audrey through a beautiful business mastermind that we're both a part of, and we just hit it off. Like we're just talking the same language, and it was so fun to get her on this podcast and actually just realize how aligned we are actually in the things we teach. So be ready for an incredible episode. Welcome to this week's episode of the Empower and Evolve podcast. Today, I'm joined by Audrey Alice, and we have a really juicy topic: how to thrive after divorce as a single mom. Oh, like I just get goosebumps just thinking about it. So thank you for being here with us, Audrey.
Oh, Kat, thank you so much for having me. This has been a long time coming, you and I having this chat.
I feel like that too. I'm so excited. I know it's going to be so good. And I loved how when we were planning this episode and, you were kind of like telling me some of the things you love to talk about. And I was like, oh my God, let's just put it together and like, let's do it this. And you were like, I just want to make sure, I believe in energetics and like those kind of things. And I was like, girlfriend, you're speaking my language.
I know, I love it. I saw your response and I was like, okay, we're on. Let's do this.
Yeah. So let's take a couple steps back. Tell us a little bit about you, Audrey. Who are you? What do you do? And what has led you to where you are today?
Ooh, I love this question. It's so expensive, right? Who are you? I mean, really, who do I want to be in this very moment?
Exactly.
Let's begin with, I'm a sacral Manny Gen. So in true Manny Gen fashion, I am a lot of things, a lot of identities. I wear a lot of hats. I wore my hat today. Okay, let's start with, I was quote unquote happily married until 7 years ago, waking up one morning and turning over and deciding absolutely not. This is not for me. I deserve better. We had been together 21 years. We have 3 beautiful boys together. And although he is a beautiful man, we definitely were not aligned in what we were looking for in life anymore. I sometimes say the third wheel in my marriage was alcohol. There was that going on his end. And I decided I deserve better. I deserve to be loved fully. I deserve to be somebody's first love, not second or third or wherever. Um, putting aside God or whatever your spiritual belief is and children, like I wanted to be number one, and he wasn't ready to make that change. And so I decided enough was enough and to move on with my life. Having 3 boys, I think, really amplified that. If I had had daughters, obviously I would have still seen it that way, but a little bit different. But with 3 boys, it really was, I do not want my boys to turn into men who believe that this is how we deal with life. Numbing,
Yes.
drinking, and moving things over, pretending it doesn't happen. That was like not how I wanted to raise my boys.
Yeah.
If I had had all daughters, maybe I would have thought, this is not the partner I want my girls to be looking for. But anyway, so yeah, I decided to leave, and that was 7 years ago.
Wow.
The first 18 months were an absolute, pardon my French, shit show. I went from bad to worse. I did what I now tell all my clients to not do. I went straight into another relationship. Wrong move. Not that there's right or wrong, but
Yeah.
I was in a space in myself, in my self-belief, in my awareness that I was looking for outward validation. And this other man gave me a lot of that to begin with. And I didn't see / completely ignored all the red flags. So I dove into this relationship. It ended up being an abusive one. That ended up, I was there for nearly a year, not quite. But yeah, I don't put much focus on that. It's just another step in the ladder of me moving on with my life. I realized quite quickly that what I was seeing was not, words and actions were not matching. Let's just put it
Yeah.
that way. And decided also quite quickly that, again, I deserved way better than this. So I then took a health nutrition coaching course. I certified in that, decided that writing meal plans for other people wasn't really my jam. And I noticed I was attracting a lot of women who were separated, going through the divorce process. And I pivoted and decided I am now a divorce coach. For 4 years, and empowering women to move on and really use this bad thing and make it your superpower. Divorce doesn't break you, it really transforms you if you choose to see it as it is, which is a portal for you to walk through. And it's not the end of your life, it's just the end of a chapter, and let's write the new book. What do you want your story to tell?
I really love that. I love that you call it a portal. That just feels like it just makes me think of like an initiation, like you're just like being initiated into this next level of you, and you're walking through this portal, and it's like this choice. And when you walk through, like, who do you become on the other end? Like, you're gonna let this portal tear you down and become a wreck, or are you gonna transform and come out the other end as Audrey 15.0?
Yeah, right? Or 100.0 or whatever it is.
Yes,
Totally.
absolutely.
I
Oh,
always think the portal is this like ring of fire, fire around it. And if you think of superheroes, I love Superwoman, and I always see her in her business outfit, looking all human and serious and whatever. And then, what she does, like she walks away, she does the twirl, and then she's like, woohoo, in her Superwoman outfit. And that's really what divorce is for me, for us. And that's the portal you walk through. You go from sad and heartbroken, and there's a lot of grief in the divorce process. You grieve the life you thought you were going to have. You
Yeah.
grieve the person you thought you were yourself and the person you thought you were going to be with. You leave that behind, walk through that portal, decide that yes, you are worth more. You are worth, it doesn't even have to be more, it's just different. Like, this doesn't work for me anymore. I'm out. I'm walking through this portal, and it's a new path, and it's a new identity, and it's a new everything. Anything you want, really.
anything you want. I really love that. And I'm seeing this right now. A dear friend of mine is going, not through divorce, they weren't married, but they were together for 5 years, so still a while. And she's currently heartbroken, and it's tough to see. It's real. Like like you said, the grieving, it's real. The grieving of everything you thought you were going to be and the life you imagined you're going to live together with this person, and to then be completely at this blank page. It can again lead to this, like, what do you choose to focus on? It, do you choose to see it as a blank page that you can now write the dream life, or are you seeing it as something that is like an end, like an end to a chapter and an end to you, or like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
All of that is so true and so valid. And I always tell people, don't tell if someone says, hey, well, actually, I'm divorced. Like, don't say I'm so sorry. Because
Yeah.
most likely they are or they will be in a place that they're not sorry. So I always say congratulations. I also want to acknowledge, though, that the heartbreak is real.
Yeah.
The sadness is real. It is true. It is normal that something ends. And as a human, even though we're a soul in a human body, the human part of us grieves, feels sadness, does have their heart broken. And there's a lot of work that gets to happen around that. The beauty in the divorce process is, so to speak, the end result. And that can take 6 months, like it can take 6 years, like it can take a long time. Hopefully not too long, because there's a whole beautiful life awaiting you. But I do want to acknowledge the heartbreak and the sadness. Those are very real.
Yeah, and I think it's so important as well to allow yourself to go through it, because I feel like, and I don't know if you can relate, being a similar generation to me, like, we are I think like our generation is starting to make a change. Like, we're now no longer these stuffer downers, but if we think about our parents and all the like generations beforehand, and even still in our generation, a big group of people, instead of feeling their emotions, they just stuff it down and let's avoid it. And then, like you said, you rush from one relationship to the next, but actually you've just held yourself back from truly feeling what you needed to feel, which can be so healing, even though in the moment it's really fucking tough.
Absolutely. I'm just writing down stuffer downer. I love that. I was like, I have to write this down because I'm like, I'll remember and then I won't. But yeah, I am French originally, but I was raised many years in England. And I know you're married to a Brit. And the English have this stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
My parents' generation, my mum and dad are both French, very much we don't talk about it so it doesn't happen. Brush it under the carpet. And that leads to depression. I'm not going to lie. That leads to anxiety. That leads to alcoholism, drug abuse, all that kind of stuff. So, which, I then married and divorced, one of those. So it doesn't work. And we are noticing that nowadays. The stuffer downer doesn't work. And the work is very much in acknowledging those feelings and not staying there forever.
Yes.
Right? This is the work we do. And it's the work we do in divorce. It's the work we do in building a new relationship. It's the work we do in parenting. It's the work we do in business. It's the work. Feel the feelings. You have to feel it to heal. That's my belief. And don't stay there forever. Like, it's, at some point it's like, okay, been there, done that, done the tears, snotted the snot, and get up, dust yourself down. Now, here's your blank page. I just walked through this portal. It's not for nothing. Here's this blank page. I can write a whole book. My life is whatever I want it to be right now.
Yeah.
It's such a gift when we see it that way.
Yeah.
I'm not broken. I'm renewed. I am rebuilding myself. And anything that's broken anyway gets to be rebuilt. I don't know if you know the Japanese thing called kintsugi.
Check out this. This is me doing kintsugi on one of my little statues.
We are so aligned, Kat. Oh my goodness. 9 out of 10 people say to me, I have no idea what you're talking about.
And then here I go into my ultra and be like, look at this.
Oh my goodness. I love it. So you know exactly what it is. Kintsugi is the Japanese practice of rebuilding broken objects with gold, so that it's not just made again, it's actually more beautiful and stronger.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what divorce is.
I really love that. That's so beautiful. For those listening who might be recently going through a divorce, a breakup, and they're in it, like they're freaking in the snot, the tears, what would be some of the suggestions that you could give to someone to help them feel it, to heal it, and move through it with maybe a little bit more ease and grace?
Beautiful question. So powerful. Feel to heal. Start with the feeling. Start with acknowledging what's coming up. For me, it was the first thoughts and feelings for me were disappointment, anger. I was so angry, resentment, all of those. I mean, the spectrum is massive on that, right? I was mad. I was sad. I was very upset that he had not chosen me, that he had not chosen our family. That's how I saw it at the time.
Yeah.
Now the story is different. Now, 7 years later, I understand that he didn't have a choice. He didn't know how. And that's his story and his path. But at the time, it very much felt like he was the bad guy. I was the good person. And, too bad, your loss, all of that. And so I didn't know what I know now. So I didn't really feel it all, hence me jumping into another relationship. But some of the tools that I have now taken on and I use all the time, and they are so cliche, quote unquote, because we hear them and we're like, yeah, fine, that's so cute. But they work so well. One of them is journaling. Pick up a big book, a small book, a piece of paper out of your printer, the back of a newspaper, whatever, and just write it down. I am fucking mad. He or she did me wrong. I disagree with your choice. Whatever it is, like write all that down. Be angry, be sad, let the tears mix with the writing and the snot. There's a lot of that. It's very physical. And write it all down and then be done. You can tear it, you can break it up, you can burn it, or you can just leave it, right? And then the next day, write again, until you're ready to write a little bit different. I understand that I am mad, and I understand that he didn't know better, or whatever your version of that would be, right? So journaling is so powerful. I don't believe there's a right or wrong way to journal. Literally bringing the words out on paper is so cathartic, is so healing. Another way I like to do is move, like rage dance, like put the songs on. I have a whole playlist of breakup songs.
Oh my God, can we have that playlist? Like, can you send me the link to that and I can put it into the show notes?
I can totally figure that out and send you the link. Yes.
Oh my God, so
The
good.
first one to mind is I forget her name, the singer, but it's called F You. F you and your mom and your friends. And
Oh
yeah. Probably right now. And anyway, I'm still recovering from this thing. My singing is awful. But yeah, that's one that I will I put on when the kids are at school or whatever. It's just me in the house, which doesn't happen very often as a solo mom, but whatever. There's another conversation. Put the music on, put it on loud and bounce, shake, lay on the floor, sob, sing the words out loud like you really mean it. Get all that anger out of your body. Somatic movement. I know you're a yoga teacher as well, so you understand all about that. I'm sure most of the listeners know too. Movement. If you're not into dancing, go get your crazy out, whatever that is. It could be CrossFit, it could be gym and weightlifting, it could be running, whatever tickles your fancy. Movement is so powerful. It could be a lot calmer. It could be like circles to like some meditation kind of music and really feeling, more Kundalini style, something like that. Another thing I really enjoyed or I really like to do to feel is sit in stillness. Now, I know I just said about the raging and the loud music and all of that. And once you've got all that out, sit in stillness, sit in quiet, no music, no TV, no news, no podcast, no nothing, and just lay there. And whatever the thoughts come in, let them come in, acknowledge them, let them move on. I always liken this to, in Shavasana at the end of your yoga practice, Some students struggle with laying there quiet. And I always say, when the thoughts come in, imagine they're a cloud in the sky and the wind just blows that away. So the cloud comes in, it kind of sits there and then it goes off. So stillness is very powerful.
Yeah.
A lot of us are scared of being still because
Yeah.
that's when thoughts come in and we get to hear them. And a lot of people are not very comfortable with their own thoughts because the self-talk is not very nice. That's a whole nother conversation we can have.
It totally is.
Those are some of the big ones that I really like to do or tell my clients to move through. And at first it's weird. And then it's like, oh my God, I haven't rage danced today. Oh my God, I haven't lifted weights in 3 days. Oh, whatever. Oh, I haven't journaled. That's why I'm feeling all cranky. And those tools you get to continue to use way past the anger and sadness and heartbreak. And then you get to use those in your healing, in your growth, in your expansion, in your 2.0, and you're a little bit different. There's less rage and more joy and, all of that.
I really love that. And it's always the simple practices that really bring us back.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, we like to overcomplicate things so often, but when it comes to these feelings, and especially something like, grieving, divorce, breakup, like losing someone you care about, we almost like drop into that survival state. And it's not about fancy stuff when you're in survival. It's about the basics. Move your body, nourish yourself, journal, like eat healthy foods, go for a shower. Like, it's the simple things.
I cannot stress enough how important this is, what you just said. We like to overcomplicate things. Oh my goodness, if I had a penny for every time I thought, is that easy? And it really is. We'd be multimillionaires. But it is so simple and it blows my mind sometimes. I'm like, oh, it's that simple.
Yeah.
But the society, the world we live in right now is, there's a lot of conditions and a lot of conditioning and a lot of, you have to do all these things to get to here. No, just sit your ass down and stop moving and be quiet for 5 minutes. It's that simple.
It gets to be that simple. I'm really excited to be moving in a moment into like talking more about how to then afterwards, once you've like picked yourself up, moving into like how to thrive as a single mom. But before we go there, I'd love for you to talk into the importance of why we shouldn't rush into another relationship straight away.
How long do I have? 6 days. You are a very good podcast host and you have amazing questions. The importance of not rushing into a relationship. Here's my truth and my reality. I met my ex-husband when I was 19. We ended up being together for a long amount of years. Anyway, long story short, we were together for 21 years.
Wow.
I moved out of my mum and dad's house into my home I was creating with him. And I had never lived on my own until I was 40, you guys.
Wow.
40. So I'll let you do the math. But 40 years of my whole life, I had been living with other human beings. Now, I moved through a divorce. I have 3 kids. So finding time alone is a mission, is not difficult. I choose not to use this word. It's something I choose to do and I seek and I make the most of what I have. But the importance of being on your own, I think that's where the magic is. Going into a new relationship straight after another one, in my opinion, will allow you to not look at you. So for a while when I left my marriage, it was very easy for me to put blame. He's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
It was very easy to say, well, I had to leave because, this thing is happening. This circumstance is over there. And so I didn't think I was the problem. Not that I was, but we always have some part of responsibility in all the things that we are, do, have, say. So being in another relationship didn't allow me the time to check in with myself, to ask myself, what in me attracted somebody who couldn't love me fully? Had I stopped and been there for a while, I would definitely not have gone into this next relationship.
Yeah.
Never mind a relationship, but definitely not that next one. Because like I said, I went from bad to worse. I thought I had been starved from love for so long that this person comes along and they're like, I really love how you do your makeup today. And I'm like, oh, you can see that I got makeup on. Like, who cares, Audrey? Deal with your shit. And I was being like, oh, he thinks I'm pretty. Oh, he thinks this. Oh, he's noticed. Like, this was all outward validation.
Yeah.
So since then, I have had a lot more time to be on my own. And I used to think I hated alone time. Oof, if I don't have 5 minutes every day, just 5.
Mhm.
If I have more, great. But sometimes you can't. If I don't have my 5 minutes on my own, my kids will be able to tell.
Yeah.
And my kids are now 13, 16, and 19. My oldest is in college, so I have 2 at home still. They will come up to me and say, do you need 5 minutes, Mama? Because they know. Because they know. They're like, do you need to, can I give you a hug? And then you can have your 5 minutes. Like, this is the, I know, right?
That's amazing. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I beat myself up a lot, past tense, for my motherhood and my mothering skills. So I receive now. Thank you so much. But yeah, the importance of being on your own, the importance of rage dancing, the importance of journaling, the importance of getting all this shit out of your body. And when I say shit, sometimes it's good shit too, you know? It doesn't have to be all bad. But what you don't express, you suppress, and it, you know, the body keeps the score. You might know that book. It's amazing. It will manifest as physical illness or mental health illness. So yeah, I'm not a medical doctor, but but my experience has shown me that when you go from one relationship to the other, you don't have the time to figure out your own thing, to figure out who you are, what you actually want. You know, this next relationship, was that what I wanted? Hell no. Our lives didn't align, not even in dream life, you know, like how I even went into that sometimes. What was I thinking? I wasn't. I hadn't taken the time. I didn't know who I was on my own, etc., etc.
It's so true. And this is something I see a lot with my clients as well, who've either like gone through a breakup or like are healing from it. And I often find that people I work with come to me during transitional periods in their time, like when they're kind of shifting, you know. And the one thing that I really kind of do believe in is that every relationship is a mirror. So if we attract ourselves to someone who is abusive, my question would be like, how are you abusing yourself? Like, what is your inner self-talk? How are you treating yourself? Like, what are the stories? Like all of those things, because it's an outward expression of our inner reality. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what we were saying earlier. A lot of people don't like to be on their own because that's where you hear your own thoughts. And those thoughts are loud. And some of them are BS. And some of them are like, hello, hello, Audrey. Can we deal with this shit right now? And absolutely, what in me at that time attracted, one, and two, allowed myself to stay in a relationship with somebody who treated me that way. Like, what? I would. And so with my clients now as a divorce coach, I often ask the question, would you be happy if your child was in this relationship? I know, mic drop, right?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, then what the heck are you doing in that relationship?
Yeah.
If you don't have children, then you can say, you know, would I like my 19-year-old self in this relationship? Would I love my bestest friend in the world to be in that relationship? Would I wish that on her or him? If the answer is no, I mean, where are you going? You know, let's do the work now.
Oh, so good. I also want to touch something that I don't know if even you're kind of aware of it. So you were 40 when you divorced, am I right? So there's actually this bit of a theory that when we shift into kind of those perimenopausal years, so like late 30s, early 40s, we go through an initiation as a woman where we finally are actually called to live life true to ourselves, and we can no longer tolerate the bullshit and kind of let things happen to us. So that's actually when a lot of divorce and big life changes happen, because we have been like tolerating things for most of our life, and then suddenly it's like a freaking light goes on and you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
And you make changes.
100%. Yes. I just had something this morning on whatever, Instagram or something. It's Brene Brown. I'll find it and send it to you. So good. She says something along the lines of, we get to this like midlife season. It's not a midlife crisis. It's a midlife awakening. It's not that we're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? This, I don't like this, I'm moving on. It's like, oh my goodness, what have I allowed myself to do? Who have I allowed myself to be all this time? That's not who I actually am. That's not what I actually want to do. This person doesn't align with me in the least. And so that's why we move on.
Yes.
Now, I also say, I actually do believe in marriage. I do believe in being together with somebody. Also, if you and that person cannot agree to move forward together in your own way, you don't have to always do everything together, then there's going to be, some problems. If there's only one person doing the growth, there are going to be problems. Resentment is going to come in. If is only one person compromising all the time, there's going to be resentment. And from that, there's, the feeling that I remember, sorry, I'm kind of jumping, but it's all linked. I've noticed that a lot of my clients, and that was my case too, I started this as my story, but I want to clarify, we don't just wake up one day and turn over and go,
Yeah.
This process has usually happened for, I want to say 2 years on and on. Can I do this again? Okay, today I'm choosing to do this again. And then one day we decide, this is never changing. Do I want to do this for another 40 years, another 20 years, another 6 months? And that's when we go, hell no, I'm out. It's not like, I'm bored. That's not what happens. Most of us do not get married thinking, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll get divorced. Like, that's not how it works. Most of us, And I took vows in front of God and blah, blah, blah. Like, I did absolutely believe, and I still do, just obviously not with him, believe in forever or for the next long period. Abraham Hicks has a whole thing about that. But it's so much more, to get back to your original question, it's so much more than a midlife crisis, is what Brene Brown was saying. And it's a midlife awakening because we realize that we've been moving through the motions, being somebody other people think we should be. Maybe we went and did a specific college course because that's what mom and dad thought would be good for us. Or maybe we choosing a specific religion because that's what we always did on a Sunday, etc., etc. And one day we're like, that doesn't work for me. It makes me feel some kind of way. It makes me feel anxious. It makes me feel icky. In my case, I went through burnout 4 times.
I believe that.
4 burnouts to figure out that this shit ain't working. Like, how long do I want to keep doing this? So that's midlife power.
Yes, it is. Oh, so good. So how did you transition into thriving as a single mom? Because I'm sure that this is also something that a lot of listeners need to hear, especially if they have found themselves, divorce, breakup, being alone. Maybe there's kids. Like, how do you find yourself and your flow again in that part of your life?
Beautiful. At some point, you decide again that you are worth more. You leave the marriage that wasn't working because it was in some way toxic to you, to him, to both of you. You move into this next transition life and it's a shit show. If you have kids, it can be harder because you have less time to figure out yourself. You kind of have to get up in the morning, which is also a blessing, by the way. My kids totally saved me. I have to get up in the morning because I have to get these kids fed and to school and, remind them that us breaking up is not their fault. It's nothing to do with them, yada, yada. And so that's kind of like swimming through mud. It's a little bit of like, a different kind of survival. And then one day again, it's like, how long do I want to do this for? I didn't go through this struggle to just stay in the damn struggle. God does not put you on this planet to just feel shit for 85 years. That ain't the God I believe in, or universe, spirit, soul, you want to call it. And so at some point you decide to take responsibility for yourself, for your feelings, for your identity, for your career, for your way of life, for your words, for your thoughts, etc., and you decide enough is enough. I left something that was not working because I wanted to be somewhere that was working. So how am I going to make this work? Right. And so you do all the things that you desire to do. You decide that you are thriving. A lot of it, we were talking about energetics, you know, how you opened earlier. In the energetics world, in the manifestation world, we talk a lot about identity. And you decide that you are a thriving solo mother. 3-4 years ago, it became really clear to me that society in general was very looked down upon single mums.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people are like, ugh, kind of like, oh, it's catchy, or, you know, it's like contagious.
Oh my God, I'm going to end up the same.
Right? But I think that people have heard so much. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, the ideal family is mum, dad, 2 kids, and this and that and the other, that when they see something else, they're a little bit uncomfortable with it. And so it was very clear for me a few years back, maybe 3-4 years ago, when I became a coach 4 years ago, that I refuse the identity of a poor single mum. And I mean poor financially, but also emotionally and everything else, right? Oh, you poor single mum, must be so hard. Hell no. It is awesome. And that's because I choose that. That's because I decided that. Do I have hard moments? Of course. Do I have sad times? Absolutely. But I also decide I am not a sad woman. I am a happy woman going through sad times sometimes. And then I feel to heal, right? And then the whole cycle repeats. But it's all about identity. We can learn the courses, we can read the books, we can write 100 times, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am divorced. If you still feel like you are a poor single mom, if you still feel inside that everything is hard for you because you're a single mom, if you still feel that your poor kids are never going to thrive because the mom and dad are not married, that's going to be your reality. What you believe true is true for you. So I could go on forever about this.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. This is something I've been saying a lot, and like on all sorts of topics, you know, people who are telling that they can't thrive in business, people who are telling that they don't have money, people who are like after breakups, like whatever the story is, like whatever you're telling yourself, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so feel it. Okay, I'm feeling sad. No, I am sad. I'm feeling sad right now. Right now, I have all these bills to pay. My bank account is showing this. I'm not sure how it's going to work. I'm still a happy woman.
Yeah.
This is just a tough moment. I know with absolute unshakable faith that everything always works out for me.
I love that you said that. That's literally something I say all the time. Like, just adopt a belief.
Every day.
Everything is working out for me.
Every day I say that at least a couple times. Everything always works out for me. I am loved, supported, and provided for. Always. Another thing that's helped me a lot recently is another mantra. I used to allow overwhelm to be a thing. And I would be like, oh my God, I have so many things to do. Of course, then I feel stress, right? But then I was like, oh, I choose this. And I will cross that bridge when I get to it. Does this bill need to be paid today, right now? No. Is the due date today? Yes. Do I usually have 5 to 10 days grace period to pay a bill? Yes. What's going to happen if I don't pay the bill? Nothing. Nothing. That has been so relieving for me. That's relieved so much pressure off my shoulders. And I no longer am in this place. My bills are always paid in time, in advance, and I'm so blessed and grateful. There were many years that I was barely paycheck to paycheck. The paycheck would come, and most of it would go to paying the bills that I was late on. I also noticed that it's okay. All of that it doesn't matter. Am I healthy and alive right now? Are my children here with me? Are we blessed? Do we have a roof over our heads? Yes. I will cross that bridge when I get to it. Everything always works out for me.
I love that. It's so important. I was actually talking to one of my mastermind clients about this today. she had like some money mindset stuff come up. And
Mhm.
yeah, I said to her, like, what are you choosing to focus on? Like, what is the story that you're choosing to focus on? Are you choosing to focus on the scarcity? Or can you notice all the abundance around you? I'm sure you have food in your fridge. You have a roof over your head. You have electricity. You have water. You have all these things. Like, what are you choosing to focus on?
So powerful. I talk about that with my own clients all the time because I work with women who are just divorced or are still
Yeah.
maybe going through the process. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of, well, he has the kids more, or he's not paying child support, or he thinks this. Why are we looking over there? You left that all the time. And I say he, but whatever relationship, marriage you were in, same sex, it's all valid. Change pronouns accordingly. Why are we focusing on the other person over there? You left that. You chose to leave that marriage. If they chose to leave the marriage, then whatever. Still a blessing. All the time you're still going over there. He's doing this, she's doing that. He said he won't switch the days with the kids, yada yada. But I've got this and the birthday. But you're still in a relationship with them. Why are we focusing on that? Let that go, right? And focus on over here. Oh, the children are coming back in 2 days. Wow, what are you going to do when they're here? Also, what are you going to do whilst they're not here? Let's look at that. Such a blessing this time on our own. Do you have a roof over your head right now? Yes, but okay, well, is your cat right here giving you cuddles? Yes, but okay, well, is that one bill paid? Like, there's so much we can be grateful for.
Yeah.
Are you healthy?
Yeah.
Are you in an able body? Do you have a job? Do you have loving friends? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. When you really dive into gratitude, that's my prayer. That's how I start my day every day. I wake up, and it's a more recent prayer. It's about, maybe a year old. But I wake up, I open my eyes, and I just go through the bodies like, oh, I'm in my body. Thank you, God. Thank you for another day to be here, to maybe make a difference in someone's life, even if it's my own. Thank you for another day of opportunities, of sunshine, of rain, of love, of lessons. Thank you. Thank you is such a powerful prayer.
It really is. It really is. And it shifts your focus.
Mm.
It's so hard to be in true gratitude and to be depressed at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's impossible.
I don't believe you can do both.
No.
Once you understand gratitude, the other stuff will come up because, again, we are a soul who came through in this body to experience the, human experience. But that doesn't last very long anymore. It's like the one thing that I still, work on is driving. This is where I get to do the work a little more consciously. I'll be like in the car and I'll be like, you cut me up. Oh, I am so grateful that I get to let you through today. Changing the subject from divorce to road rage.
That is so funny.
But you can't be in both. You can't be angry and grateful. So focus on the gratitude for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Also, how curious is it that I don't feel like society has the same meaning attached to a single dad as they do with a single mom?
Oh, babe, we need a whole different podcast interview for this one, but yes. And same with a married dad or a married mom.
Yeah.
Stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad. That's a thing I have very much observed. And then again, there's like 7 or 8 or 10 universal laws and truths. And me observing this is just something I've observed. It's not true in everyone's awareness, et cetera. But no one ever asks a dad when they go back to work after the newborn, oh, where's the baby? Mom goes back to work, and in America they get, I don't know, something stupid like 2 bloody weeks. It's ridiculous.
Like, how is that even possible?
It blows my mind. And then we wonder why kids are depressed. Again, blah, blah, blah. another interview. But whether it's 2 weeks or a year, you go back to work, and as a mother, and the first thing people ask is, who's looking after the baby? No one's asking my husband that, or my ex-husband, or the baby's dad, right? And you go out for lunch with your girlfriends or dinner with your girlfriends. Oh, where are the kids?
Yeah.
Or, the comment about, to the dad, you're babysitting your kids tonight so your wife can go to dinner. That's so nice. Newsflash, he's not babysitting. He's parenting. Because he's supposed to have those kids with her or with him, whatever, right? Like, I don't babysit my kids. I mother them. He
Yeah.
doesn't babysit the kids. He fathers them. Like that's a whole thing.
It's such a thing. So I really love how you like spoke into, what is again, like what are you choosing? What is the decision you're making? Are you choosing to buy into the story that you're a sad, lonely, single mom that is struggling? Like if you choose to focus on that, yeah, it's going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely. And it was for a couple of years,
Yeah.
it was. For me, it was very much, oh, he chose, let's say whatever, he chose drink, he didn't choose me. Poor me. It's so hard on me. And I did nothing wrong. And so, of
Yeah.
course, that was my reality. It was
Yeah.
hard. It was tough. I did spend a lot of time crying and resentful. I was still resentful. I was out of my marriage now. I was still resentful. And then one day all of this work came a little more focused into my reality, and I decided, let's embody this. Like that's the piece. That's the magic piece, is embodiment. We can read the books, we can listen to the podcasts and hear the courses and blah, 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 until you decide to become the person you say you want to be. That needle ain't moving nowhere, baby.
Exactly.
We'll still be that poor single mom that society is like, oh, poor you.
Yeah.
And then,
We can only intellectualize and like intellectualizing information and knowledge isn't going to get you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Exactly.
taking action.
Yeah. Until you decide to walk out of this house and look, you might still be a stay-at-home mom as a divorced mom, whatever it is, walking around the store, buying your groceries, feeling empowered. The way you stand, you could be in your sweatpants and your baggiest, holiest, skankiest t-shirt. You walk around empowered, feeling that people are going to notice.
Yeah.
The way you feel about you is going to show and shine out of you, and people will speak to you different. They will act differently with you. Different requests and invitations will come your way. I have absolutely seen this to be true in my reality. I am definitely no longer a struggling single mom. I still am a single mom. It's just me and the boys. But we don't struggle. There's a lot of love. Financially, magic has happened because I believe it was going to. And so, of course, it did. What I believe to be true is my truth. My business is exploding. Anyway, we could go on and on and on. But you want to get out of this poor single mom identity, get out of it.
Yeah.
Put on your lipstick, whatever it is. Put on your sexiest underwear. No one needs to know. Put on that pair of shoes, a hat, a pair of earrings. It doesn't even have to be a thing that you actually put on you, but sometimes that helps at the beginning to embody the identity and walk around like you're a badass, because you are.
Because you are.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I do believe that we only ever get dealt what we can handle.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So even though you might be in the challenge and you're really feeling it and it's really hard, just remember everything is working out for you and you're only being dealt what you can handle. And this is actually helping you to become that 2.0 version.
Yeah. And in an instant, you can embody the identity of a woman who can handle everything.
Yeah.
And then you'll be dealt whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right? You're only given what you can hold, sure, but I can hold it all. I choose not to. That's a whole different thing, because I know better now. I ask for help and I receive it and I delegate. But if I want it all, I get to have it all.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it all alone all the time. But, different vibration. But yes.
Very, very different.
Anything
very
I want.
different.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This has been so juicy. My final question for you. This is always my final question. And I never tell people that this is the final question. So I always love to see the answer. What is your one piece of advice for someone who is listening and really like, oh my God, I needed this episode in my life right now? Your one piece of advice.
I think that last bit that we were just talking about. You can do whatever you want. You just have to decide that you are her or him. And so walk through life that way. If you're dreaming of a new car and you're driving your, rambly car, imagine you're in that shiny new Bronco or whatever it is.
Yes.
If you're currently single and you're dreaming of a relationship, see yourself with the partner. Again, about energetics, there's a whole nother thing we can talk about, because you don't want to be thinking, oh, I don't have a partner or I don't have the car. because that's what more is going to come
Exactly.
to you of. But so it's thinking from the end versus thinking of the end. You're not just looking at where you're going, you're imagining yourself there already. That's embodiment.
This has been so juicy.
So
Thank you so much. I've loved it. I will have all of the links to all of your beautiful things in the show notes. You can find Audrey on Instagram. Her website will be there. And I'm going to get that playlist of her.
Yes. Absolutely. The breakup songs.
Little rage session at home has never hurt anyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone listening.
Thank you, Kat. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me on the Empower and Evolve podcast. I hope that today's episode has sparked a new insight, or perhaps reminded you of your own power to manifest change. If you found value in our time together, I invite you to subscribe and share this podcast with someone who might need a little reminder of their own magical power. It would mean the world to me if you could take just 2 minutes to review the podcast and help it reach more people. And remember, the journey of transformation is ongoing, and sometimes the most powerful step that we can take is to simply pause, breathe, and realign with our deepest intention. Until next time.